I wanted to stay with the nice little theme of sniper units. So in this video, we're taking a look at the very first KAW signature Robot Damacy or Robot Spirits. Zaku 1 sniper type. Very, very cool, but it does have some flaws. And we'll go through that in a little bit. But let's take a look at the box here. It's very, very different. Very different from the regular Robot Damacy boxes. There's no open window. You can see the figure. But yeah. So the front of the package, you see the Zaku 1 looking all nice and spiffy. See on the side here, it says Bandai Collector's Shop, and then it has the year 2012, which is when this came out. This is for Gundam Unicorn. And I think it was pretty much taking over everything at that point. But also on the front of the box, we have the specs for the mobile suit. We have Principality of Zeon Forces Mobile Suit MS-05L. So basically it just has all its like actual specs if this thing was real, what it's made out of, super steel alloy, beam rifle, Vulcan cannons for its armaments. Crazy stuff. On the top of the box says KAW signature and the person who sculpted the figure, I'm assuming. And that nice little Gundam Unicorn motif right there. On the sides, it simply says Zaku 1 sniper type. But on the back, pretty much the same information. I can't tell what's really written right here. Probably something about the signature line. There is no figure number, designation number. I don't know. It's a special figure. So it has right here Zaku 1 in its posing, taking aim, standing nice and tall. Here's the rifle, which we're going to look at as well. And then a nice little drawn version on the side here. And then again, all the information rewritten. Wow, exciting. Okay, so there's the box. Let's take the figure out and see how it looks. Right off the bat, something disappointing happened. Now I did buy this figure used and it is complete, but however, there is a small issue, and that is that the antenna, can you see that? Let me try and focus here. The antenna has been broken off and was repaired with super glue. Oh man, that really sucks, but I did buy this at a very large discounted price. So if that's the only issue with this figure in terms of being broken or not, then it's okay. But taking a look at the figure, man, I'm really enjoying this. Nice color. I really like the Zaku in general. So Zaku 1, Zaku 2, they're actually my favorite infantry units in the mobile suit, you know, lineage or whatever. And this is a very cool figure. Let's go ahead and oops, put that back on. Very, very nice. Very well detailed. Not a lot going on though. Kind of disappointing in that area, but it does feel rather solid, but at the same time kind of fragile. I'll get to that in a moment. But let's see, do we have double joint action going on? Yeah, maybe. We'll get into that later. Let's take a look at the backpack. Here we see the backpack. Nice, yeah, really good detail on that. And it does pop on rather simply. All it is a peg on the back of the Zaku 1. Snap it on. Let's take a look at the Zaku 1 more time. And this mono eye does move around, and there's like a little yellow kind of translucent plastic that you can't really catch too well on the camera, but it is there. Yeah, and this thing does pop out. This is, I guess, for stabilizing the mobile suit when it's taking aim, I'm assuming. So yeah, that's cool. Okay. Zaku 1 sniper type. Let's go ahead and move into accessories. The Zaku 1 sniper rifle comes with a number of accessories, and the most important one is of course the Tamashii stand attachment piece, which pretty much always comes with any figure. Putting that off to the side, we have hands, not too many, but 2 extra sets, not including the fists that are already on the figure. You get a regular old trigger finger hand and what would be considered a beam saber holding hand as well. And put that right there. And then we have a more traditional beam rifle holding hand with a slightly bent wrists and a nice stabilizing opened hand. So if you can imagine the rifle like so, putting that down. Now speaking of the sniper rifle, let's go ahead and show that off. And you can see there's a lot of nice little detail in the sculpt of the rifle. In fact, a lot of great detail, but it is just basically still one piece of plastic. So yeah, only 3 different colors on this thing. It doesn't do anything, it doesn't open up, but that shouldn't be a problem only if they didn't give us, and I gotta pick them all up right now, all these barrels for the rifle. Now if you've seen the show, you'll know that the Zaku's sniper rifle overheats the barrels when it's being used constantly. And so it gave, or Bandai decided to give us a couple of barrels to, I guess, switch out. But the thing is, the rifle doesn't open up, you can't switch the barrels out, you can't even really store them anywhere. So we have 3 brand new barrels, like so, and I'm assuming these are just for, display purposes. You have a barrel that's beginning to overheat, like this, and you can kind of see the orange hue to it in the middle. And then you have one that's completely overheated in itself. So there's that. And again, this thing doesn't open to my knowledge. In fact, it does kind of look like it's open, like that's a hinge, but of course, knowing my luck, if I open this bastard, it might break. But you do get some storage containers for, where's the other one? Oh, here it is. Some storage containers for the barrels, but like I said, they're not really in use. You can't open these things, they're just display purposes only. And you can actually attach these to the backpack, which has a little attachment part right here that is in the package separately. And so you can just fit these little canisters onto the backpack itself, like so. Now, as for the backpack, this cord and the backpack come in the package together. You don't really have to detach this. In fact, another cord that you get for connecting the rifle to the battery pack is attached like so. These thrusters don't move, so don't worry about that. And then you attach this other end to the rifle itself. And there, you're basically set to take on the Federation. So that's pretty much accessories. Let's move on to articulation. Now, because this is a special figure, I'm assuming that the articulation is going to be crazy and off the walls and groundbreaking, but no, we don't get that. This is purely just special because of the sculpt, and that's pretty much it. But it does have the basics of any figure in the Robot Damacy line. You do get a full 360 rotation in the head. Now this is only if you take the backpack off, and yeah, man, it's really fighting me here. Come on, turn. Yeah, there it goes. Okay, and you can raise the head up about that much before it just stops completely. And I already showed you that the mono eye does work. It goes only up a little bit and then goes back down. Going on to the shoulders, you are able to raise them up. This one more than this one because of the shoulder armor, but you can kind of bend this out of place and then lift it up a little bit more. You can pop the shoulder out of the socket, or not out of the socket, but out of the torso to make for more articulation when you're holding the sniper rifle, and then it goes right back into place. Moving on to the bicep of the arm, full rotation, 360, and then you can move or bend the elbow, and I'm thinking, is this double jointed? I haven't really even checked. It feels like it is, but no, it's not. So we got a 90-degree angle on the elbow there, and then moving on to the wrist, ball joint with a kind of a hinge thing going on. So you can move it up and down as well, but it's just a ball joint. These things are really hard to get off. The hands are super hard and tight, and so pulling them off the ball pegs for the hands is kind of scary. You might break them. Moving on to the torso, you do get some nice articulation, I guess, for the midsection. Nothing too crazy. But then you go into the skirt armor. Skirt armor does move a little bit. This side, these are all kind of separate right here. These kind of move up. The sides move up as well. It's all independent there. But the back doesn't move at all. Putting those down. We do have some nice articulation in the legs. Kicks up about that high, and then we get double joints in the knee like shown, and then we move on to the ankles, ankle pivot, ankle turnaround, ankle everything, including the little piece in the middle of the foot that kind of moves around as well. But no toe, midsection foot articulation. This is all just one solid foot piece. And I think that's it. If the backpack was on this thing, the articulation would kind of be hindered a little bit for the shoulders, and maybe that's about it. And the torso to an extent. But other than that, it's very, very basic. Oh, that's sad. Doing some comparisons next to the GM Sniper and the regular GM mass production type that came out just this past year. You gotta say, yeah, obviously the Zaku 2 Sniper, or Zaku 1 Sniper is taller. And now I did review this one recently and did a comparison between this one and the regular GM. This one is shorter than the regular GM, but if you count the antenna, then it's taller. So I don't know, whatever you want to think of that. But yeah, it's very clear that this one is the superior figure. Although I do love this GM so much, and then this one's cool in itself too. But yeah, let's move on to final thoughts. The more time I spend with this figure, the more and more my love for it is lessening. That being because it's just very overpriced, and for what you get and for how it acts, how it feels, and how fragile it is, it's very, very, very disappointing. This is Ka Signature. This is supposed to be something that separates itself from the normal figures of the Robot Damashii line, and unfortunately that didn't do it. The thing that gets me is that this is just pretty much a more a lighter version of the fixed figuration figures, because that's exactly what it feels like. I've had a couple of fixed figuration figures, and this is what it really feels like. I don't understand it. Certain things I had issues with was, maybe instead of having the shoulders pop out of the torso, we should have had some articulation in the actual torso itself to have the sides come in closer, kind of like what we see with the GM here. If you look closely, you can, maybe something like that. Would have been easier, and it would have been better in terms of, articulation. On top of that, I don't mind it coming with so many accessories. In fact, a lot of these accessories are cool, but the sad thing is you can't really do anything with them. So you can, toss them to the side and stuff like that. Maybe just, use them as posing props and whatever, but for the most part, it's just useless. On top of that, now this this sniper rifle really could have done something more with it. It could have been, maybe something you could open up and then stick one of these barrels in, because that would be so much fun to be able to pose this figure doing that, mid-action. But again, I don't know. I don't know what the thinking was behind it. Let's see, what else? I already discussed how fragile this is. I mean, touching this antenna here, it is very, very stiff and hard. Touching this antenna on this Damashii, it's kind of flexible. It's kind of still hard, but it doesn't feel like it'll break right away. Unfortunately, this does, and that's kind of proof right there. This antenna broke off. I wasn't the one that did it. It was the person who owned it before me, but still, same thing. What else? I think that's pretty much it. I mean, I did have issues with taking the hands off. In fact, this arm likes to have the whole fucking thing come out. Like, what's that about? I don't understand that. And the sad thing is, when you take off these hands, you run the risk of breaking the ball joint that they're attached to. So that really, really sucks. And the price point for this sucker when it first came out was like around $70 to $80. Now it's going for like $100. People don't want to drop it. They think it's worth that. Which, hey, newsflash, if something is being listed on eBay for $100 and there's like several of them and they're not selling, and you see these things there day after day after day, that means that they're not worth that. That means that you have to go down in price. Otherwise, you're just going to be sitting on it for God knows how long. But, this is very cool. In a time where we weren't getting different figures, where we weren't getting anything brand new, meaning the whole idea of Robot Damashii was supposed to be like making figures that they hadn't made in the MSA lane. This is it. So it was a nice start to it. But another disappointing thing was that, you know, later on in the Ka Signature series, they started to add little decals and stuff like that. And we don't really get that with this one. So that was kind of disappointing, even though I don't believe this had anything on it in the series. But yeah, so that's it. That's my review. Sorry if it ran pretty long. I just wanted to get all my feelings out about this figure. You know, I'm still on the fence about whether or not I like it or not. But it is a Zaku, so I guess I do. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys. Hit the like or dislike, comment if you want. And be sure to subscribe. And I'll see you guys later. Bye.